FCH High Pressure Plunger Pump, Maintenance and Repair Guide. Tools needed. Spare parts to prepare. Removing the high pressure and low pressure valve covers. Use an electric wrench to remove the M10 hex bolts on the top of the high pressure valve cover and take off the high pressure valve cover. Then, proceed to remove the low pressure valve cover by loosening the screws from both sides towards the center, which effectively prevents the cover from falling off unexpectedly. Removing the low pressure and high pressure valves. Use M12 bolts to remove the low pressure valve, and use oil seal pliers to remove the copper seat of the low pressure valve. Similarly, for the high pressure valve, use M6 bolts and oil seal pliers to pull out the high pressure valve. Finally, use an oil seal screwdriver to remove the retaining ring at the bottom of the high pressure valve. Disassembling the pump head and water seal components. Proceed to disassemble the pump head and remove the water seal components. Using a copper seat removal tool, you can easily pull out the guide copper seat. Next, remove the copper compression plate and the top seal of the main water seal. Use oil seal pliers to remove the main water seal. Then use an M12 socket to remove the plunger nut, allowing you to take out the ceramic tube and water baffle. Inspecting the new parts before replacement. Before replacing any parts, check if the new parts are intact. Replacing the main water seal and related components. When replacing the main water seal, apply silicone grease to both the inner wall and the new water seal. First, insert the white bottom water seal, then place the seal sleeve into the groove, and use a water seal tool to press the top seal tightly. Next, insert the white top water seal and the copper compression ring, ensuring the flat side of the copper ring is facing up. Replacing the guided copper seat and secondary water seal. For replacing the O-ring of the guide copper seat, use an oil seal screwdriver to easily remove it. The secondary water seal can be pried out with a flathead screwdriver and before installation. Silicone grease should also be applied to the secondary water seal. After applying silicone grease to the inner wall of the copper seat, press the O-ring into the groove for an easy fit. Installing the copper seat and completing the water seal section. Before installing the copper seat, apply silicone grease to the outside of the O-ring, then press it into the groove with both hands. Completing the water seal installation. Installing the low pressure valve. For installing the low pressure valve, first insert the low pressure copper seat and low pressure valve, ensuring the valve is leveled. Then install the O-ring for the low pressure valve to complete this section. Installing the low pressure valve. For the high pressure valve installation, first place the retaining ring at the bottom, followed by the O-ring. Next, press the high pressure valve in, ensuring the white part is at the top. Finally, press in the open retaining ring, also applying silicone grease. The high pressure valve installation is completed. Installing the cover and tightening screws. Next, align the high pressure valve cover with the corresponding holes, and finally, use a torque wrench set to 30 Newton meters to tighten the screws, following the correct sequence. Installing the ceramic tube and plunger rod. Before installing the ceramic tube, insert the water baffle onto the plunger rod and apply silicone grease. Then, insert the ceramic tube. Note that the M12 plunger nut has a built-in O-ring, which can be replaced if damaged by prying it out with an oil seal screwdriver. After applying thread adhesive to the plunger rod, use a 15 Newton meters torque wrench to tighten the M12 nut, completing this section. Connecting the crankshaft and pump head. Finally, connect the crankshaft to the pump head, ensuring they are leveled and aligned vertically for easy installation. Installing the low pressure valve cover and cooling water O-ring. For the final step, install the low pressure valve cover. The inside of the cover has an O-ring for cooling water, which can be easily replaced with an oil seal screwdriver. When installing the cover, ensure the O-ring aligns with the pump head holes. After applying sealants to the M10 hex bolts, tighten them with a torque wrench set to 30 Newton meters, following the correct tightening sequence.
Fussen. Make the world cleaner.